I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Christina Applegate.
Mm-hmm. And who else? Or what else do you want to give a shout out to?
I don't really have any other shout outs, but I did want to let the people know for the culture
logic.
That just because you put your tacos on the street doesn't make them street tacos. Damn.
That shit's deep as fuck.
Welcome to the After Raid Hours featuring
Yep.
JackJack 1620.
Hi.
The man, the myth, the legend. Also, very good planner.
I try. I'm a spreadsheet guru, as Ian called it.
Yeah. And your boy, JayTI7N, not a good planner.
Yes, you are. Shut the fuck up.
I can plan some things. I'm a decent manager.
That's still part of planning.
I guess.
That's very much part of planning.
Anywho, how's it going, bro?
It's good. I am spreadsheet out right now. Like,
I bet.
just the last weeks of 2022. And it's just playing catch up on things that you normally don't want to do. Now is the perfect time.
Okay.
Offices are dead. Hopefully work isn't too crazy. We're going to get hit with some epic cold weather.
It's not a bomb cyclone, but it's
cold. What would they call this? Like a cold Arctic blast?
Yeah, I guess, bro, because it's like, what does it drop from? It's like 50 tomorrow.
Yeah, like
Wednesday.
Dairy Queen's going to be like, we called that already.
It's like 50, and then like Thursday is like, bro, it's going to be -5 or whatever.
Dude, yes. Like, and I was watching someone on a TikTok, they're showing like this cloud of like blue just going through America, having things almost in the -20s.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, fuck with that. I don't want to be anywhere near that.
Yeah. So you're spread eagle on spreadsheets.
Yeah, so I've just been, because my main thing, like I talked about in the last podcast, I wanted to really kind of deep dive into like all the events Niantic has done for 2022.
So 2022
and just really packed. Dude, yeah, like some of my numbers, like let me just give you some quick ones. So like out of the year, we've only had about 140 some days without events. And again, I'm only looking at events that like go from a day to like 2 weeks.
So like
I'm not looking at like Go Fest. I'm not looking at the international events. I'm just looking at like events, pastimes like the winter part 1, part 2. I think the only event I don't consider that's going to be an event is the one that happens on Christmas, because it just hasn't happened yet. We don't have deets on it.
Right. So, but basically, it's like you said, it's not like the destination events. It's not like
correct.
Almost like a convention. I don't know if that's how.
It's just the global events. It's everyone has access
when it's just
to.
like come punch babies in our baby event.
Sweet Jesus.
Or what is it? Yeah, enjoy the water event. You know, some of the events.
Yeah.
So how many did you say?
So we had about 142 days without events.
Without an event. So 142 days of straight missionary vanilla lights off. Pokemon
lights
Go.
Off, like you just keep going, Pound Town. Most events average about 5 days.
Okay.
There's about, on average, 3 days between every event is what it feels like, which isn't wrong. Like accurate. I think this year alone we've had 44 events.
Yeah.
Which is a lot. And again, the average is about 5 days per event.
Okay.
The max, I think, was 15 days. And again, I looked at it. I did all the math, like sequencing, to make sure that it wasn't like overlapping. 50% of those events have like new shinies, which is nice. That's the big driver.
So yeah, I was going to ask, what is the value of all of these events?
So the best values to come out of them are having new Pokemon and new shinies. Those are the highest grossing things that the events bring.
And usually the stuff that people want.
Mythicals make up 2% out of all of it. So like 2 events out of 100, you get a new mythical or mythical adjacent.
Okay.
When it comes to legendaries, less than 20%. And that's looking at new legendaries as well as legendaries that we received, but with new moves.
Okay.
So moves. Like Winter Part 2 event, we're getting Kieran back, but he has like Glaciate, I think is like the move, or some new ice move.
A new ice move. Similar with Cobalion is out with Sacred Sword.
Yeah. And it's kind of shitty because legendaries, mythicals, and megas fall less on priority than like getting new apparel for your avatars. Apparel has like a 34% focus for events, which I'm just
so
like,
it's like,
whack.
Hey, come get our new hat. Come get our new
come get this
jackets. Come get our new pose.
When it comes to costumes, 27%. So a quarter of our events focus on Pikachu with another fucking hat. And you're just like, sweet baby Jesus.
Well, and like for this Christmas one, like the Eevee.
Oh yes, like Eevee with new hats, all of its
Enjoy Eevee with the new
evolutions.
hat, and now that means there's
Yeah.
8 other Pokemon with the new hat.
Global challenges made up less than 5%, which kind of sucks. I wanted more global stuff. Rocket stuff makes up 7% of all
Which
events
is-
for the year.
That's a travesty.
Which to me, I'm like, there's such a rockets are everywhere. You see them
Yeah.
every day. They're balloons. We should be doing more with rockets.
Bro, I've been doing so many rockets because I still don't have like a female Sandalite for Salazzle.
I just hatched a male when I was like, son of
I
a
keep-
bitch.
Well, I've been hatching like Bisharp and Poniard and Absol. Like
and then
crazy.
you're shiny Noibat.
Yeah, well that was
Well,
out of the
I know
10K.
that's out of 10Ks,
But still, it's like
I'm still jealous.
So I was happy about that, but it's just like these 12. I've been farming 12Ks like crazy.
Yeah,
So I've
because
been-
you're saying back at work you get those balloons
yeah,
and
like
you get
when
the
I go
stops
down-
really
When
frequently.
I go downtown, like today, I got 6 on my way into
See,
the office.
that's insane.
So I was able to do rockets enough to fight Cliff or whatever. I got the egg, so I'm gonna hatch it eventually. But it's just like I hatched one on the way in, and it was a fucking Absol, and I'm like, bro, get Absol out of this pool.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
And
I love
see-
Absol, but like, come on.
Right, and that's what sucks. Other things that suck about the events that focus on getting you extra Stardust, 0%.
just a pure Stardust
Just-
event.
Something where your Stardust is
Yeah.
increased for participating in the event.
Is that because
0.
they like? Well, do you think that's because they sprinkle it into like or
It's,
community
it's
days and
more for
stuff?
the community days,
Okay.
which again, that's only 12 events.
I still need them to change that for me.
That's only a day each. Like, that's not enough. Sure, you can farm it, but like if they gave you just more Stardust in general for like 2 weeks, people would go fucking ham.
Yeah, just imagine an event. 2 weeks,
Yeah.
you'll have 3 times Stardust
Yeah.
all week. How many Pokemon are you catching?
Exactly. Like extra XP
Exactly,
was
yeah.
like 5%.
Okay.
And that's the same as incense. Extra lucky egg modification, so like extended time is like 2%.
Okay.
So super rare. And then the highest one out of it is increased lure time, which is where they increase it to like an hour instead of that.
Okay. instead of
That's
30
the
minutes or
highest
whatever. Okay.
modifier for that. When it comes to just rating in general, like, because I tried looking at it, like when they give out mega raids, just raids in general, and breaking it down by like even what's in the 1 star, 3 stars, and 5 stars
Okay.
of like your chances, the Pokemon there being a shiny potential. So the best one to raid for if you're going to raid would be the 1 stars.
Right.
Because a lot of
Which is
them
weird.
are in the 85% chance that Pokemon that raid, it could potentially be shiny.
Right. So that's because like Shinx and Rock Ruffs.
Yes.
You know,
it's
things
usually
like
like
that.
3 out of 4. There's usually
Yeah.
those odds,
Dino.
which is nice.
Okay.
3 stars about near 50%, and same with 5 star, because a lot of them, like we've seen, they'll have like the Pokemon out there like they did with all the Tapus and everything, but they're not shiny, but they have them out for weeks at a time, and you're just like,
Yeah. Cool. I got my
lovely.
one,
Same
and
with
I'm
like
done.
Koopa. He was here. He's made his
Yeah.
round trip visit a couple times, and they still don't have his gold form out, which sucks. When it comes to mega or elite raids, that's been about 20% of the focus for events.
Right.
When
I
it
actually started caring about those a little bit more.
now that they modified it,
Yeah.
and I agree. Once they made the modification, I'm going to
Yeah, 'cause
care more about those
originally,
megas.
I was like, fuck mega raids, but
When
no.
it comes to hatching, it's only a quarter of the
course,
focus is on
yeah.
it. And extra hatching candy is about 10-11% of that.
Okay.
XL candy is 2%. And to me, it's like, if they just give XL, like do those increased XL chances, there's no real point of hatching. Especially if you could get them through trade, it's a lot easier to do. Like right now, we're in the guaranteed window.
Yeah.
That's a lot nicer than waiting for an egg to hatch and you don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Especially when the hatch roster is so fucking whack.
Yeah.
When it comes to like buddy stuff, the one that I want them to bring back is
Like a friendship.
the guaranteed 5 lucky trades.
Yeah.
We haven't had that, I think, in like 2 years.
Well, they just announced it.
What?
They're increasing. You get 5 more guaranteed luckies if your Pokemon is older than 2017.
But isn't that also variant on the number of luckies you already have?
No, no.
Because I know,
So
like, I
remember-
saw, like, Phil had put out, and this is Phil from Pokemon Go Aurora. He would put out, like, an infographic
Master.
about it.
Yeah.
Self-proclaimed master, which is fine. He's son of divas in general. That is Dave.
Anyway.
Not Dave. That is Phil.
That is
Sorry.
Dave. Sorry, Dave.
Sorry, Dave.
Didn't mean it. That's definitely Phil.
That is all Phil. Phil owns that. He trademarks it.
So you're saying he posted an infographic?
Yeah, there was some infographic where it was like anything post this, you have like a 20% chance. If you have, you have like a 50% chance if it's like of a certain age group.
Well, they had a winter announcement today.
Oh shit!
And they announced that they're increasing it. You'll get 15 guaranteed shiny total. So we had 10. So they're adding 5 more guaranteed or lucky.
I was like shiny.
Sorry.
I was like, bitch.
I meant lucky. Guaranteed lucky as long as one of the Pokemon is from 2017 or older.
But I don't want to train a lot of those boys.
That's what I'm saying. That's just like
those are my gold boys.
Why don't you just let me have the luckies?
To me, just bump it up to 2018.
But yeah, no, that they like I said, they just announced that. So interesting that you were talking about that.
Yeah, so I increase, and a lot of the friend buddy stuff is like all less than 7%. Which to me, I was like, friends and doing all that in community should be the focus. Why is this
in a social game or whatever? Yeah.
Yeah. And so kind of going through all the events, like my personal favorites of all the events have been, I think how I broke it down was, I think the Halloween event took it. Halloween part 1 was solid because you got to have the new shinies, you got to have new legendaries, you got to have new megas and new Pokemon. And then out of all those perks, so the perk numbers, which is like the raid focuses, XPs and everything, I just consider like general perks. There's 32 perks roughly, and that event had about 19% of them, which is dope. 19% is the highest any event has had in terms of perks, which is to me an opportunity for Niantic to do those things, because again, like I kind of read off, you have perks like extra friend bonuses, you have other perks. Let me see what I have down. So like increased buddy leveling, increased buddy gifts, gift holding, gifts opening, extra buddy hearts, for hatching, extra XL candy, extra candy in general, mega raids, XL candies for that, new shinies. All those things are what I consider like perks.
Yeah.
So like if it doesn't have that perk, what's going on? Most of them, I should have taken average of it, but the ones I was looking for that were top contenders were things between 19 and 16%. So that's like having at least 3 or 4 of those things that were considered high tier for that event. Mm-hmm. And then also just having the other adage bonus of new shiny, new legendaries, new mythicals.
Right.
So it was the Halloween event. Then I think like the second one was like, let me see what I have noted. The Spring in the Spring 2020 was up there. It was pretty high. And then the winter event, the one actually coming up, is actually going to be on that list because they just put out its logistics and it's up there. So this part 2 is going to be a good event to participate in.
Right, because in terms of all this stuff. Like,
yeah.
And so again, that's increased, new shinies, new costumes for Pokemon, but certain Pokemon are now out, etc.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the other events that kind of made it into like my favorites was the Greedy Gluttons was up there.
Yeah.
The Dia de los Muertos event, even though it was super short, it had a lot of perks. Like the rating for that was way better. Like all the Pokemon, for the most part, in your 1 stars and 5 stars were potentially shiny. Same with the ones that are out in the wild, and that's my biggest gripe, I think, with events, is where they have Pokemon that's out, but they can't be potentially shiny. So I'm like, I don't want to keep running into the same. Like right now, we have the Snowflake, the Cryogonal that can't be shiny.
Right.
His shiny, you'll know it. It has red eyes.
Well, same with Vanillite.
Yeah, like him being out is really annoying because I'm like, this would have been a great time to have him shiny, but he's not. And right now we just got done with the spotlight hour for Bergamite. Mm-hmm. I didn't get shit. I think I've only seen like 2 people get him shiny.
Yeah.
And he's hard to notice, obviously, because the game still doesn't show you shinies in the wild. But when you click him, you'll know he's shiny because there's like green around his eyes, and then he has a yellow belly, basically, and leggies. So he's noticeable, but again, you need to pay attention. The other event that was pretty good for them was the Spring in the Spring 2022 event. So that was where we had the release of like Tapu Bolo, the Togekiss, and Lopunny, so the flower crowns.
Yeah.
And everything like that. Those were good events. And then the other ones that were good were the Lush Jungle, the Welcome to Alola, which I would agree with. That had a lot of Pokemon releases.
Absolutely.
Well,
because that was a major like generation release.
Yeah, it was a milestone kind of event. And then going back to like almost the beginning with the Mountain of Power. So that was where we got new Pokemon like Mega Aeron.
Yeah.
Or no, Mega Aerodactyl,
Okay.
Shiny Slugma, and Magma, basically. We had a lot of good raids in that one. And yeah, so things like that. And so, like, if you want to see this listing, let me know. I could post it.
You did a lot of work. It looks really good. Like, it's actually really interesting information, like I said.
Yeah, just trying to color code. And I want to go through the other years to just kind of see what was there.
And compare to the years.
Yeah, like, my favorite was still kind of the Adventure Week. That's always been my favorite. They've been doing it
so good. Yeah.
Just because it has dinosaurs, and I'm a sucker for dinosaurs.
Yeah, it's just fun. Like, I don't know, like,
it has
the other
new
bonuses
Pokemon.
They have, usually it's like a decent shiny, like you said, new Pokemon. Like, Adventure Week's always been solid. Every year. That's like one event you can kind of always look forward to. But still, that's all super interesting, mainly because, like, I think it's interesting to see how it broke down this year specifically, because it felt like Niantic was really trying their best to get us to do, like, in-person shit, right? Like,
especially with Hoopa.
Yeah, like, they're trying to get you away from the remote raid passes, and then you just need to, like, rip off that Band-Aid if that's what they really want.
Do.
Just like, hey, sorry, guys, we know it's convenient, but it's, like, affecting how you play the game. Because, like, ultimately, like, no one cares about raids as much anymore. It's nice to be able to invite my friends from, like, across the town or whatever to be like, hey, can you help me with this mega raid that no one cares about anymore? And part of that is just, like, we've talked about it at length on this podcast, like, our problems with the rating system in general. But, like, it's, I think if they want to really want to drive home this whole, like, we need to play in person and we need to bring back the social stuff, that's one thing to do. The other thing is, like, the events that you listed off. Like you said, the buddy events. There's not any buddy events. You know what would be, like, really fun? What? And I don't know how they would implement it. If I could battle with you, like, say you and I were like, let's go take on...
Like, your set team?
Yeah, like, let's go take on Team Rocket, and we 2v2, or 2v whatever.
Well, right.
Or 4v... Like,
I
you
feel
play
like
with a friend.
They could do it just like, again, looking at, like, newer games like Scarlet and Violet, where you can buddy and go into your person's world. What if Niantic would allow you to kind of let yourself go on autopilot?
Right. To
do something like that. And like, hey, sign me up, Scotty. Like,
they kind of tease that with some of the AR stuff, right? They're like, oh, your buddy's Pokemon can join your AR world and you can see them and all this other stuff. And you're like, I want to see, I want more of that. Like,
and then with the use of Campfire, being able to see your location, even though you might not want that. Campfire was letting people see that kind of shit.
I love Campfire sauce. Not a big fan of Campfire.
And I still haven't heard many people with the best experiences. If you've had good experiences with the Campfire app, definitely let us know, because I don't know many people who use it. Niantic, just like they're doing right now with the Pavilion release with making postcards relevant, I feel at some point might make it. And again, just to be even like a, what do they call it? Ambassador or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, you have to use Campfire and you have to do those things. And I've had folks be like, Jack, you would make a good candidate for it. And I'm like, I know, but I just don't want to use Campfire. Like, it's another app, and I'm tired of. I have a lot of apps. I've been opposed to Niantic's involvement with Twitter whenever it came to, like, voting on things or getting information, even though, like, you actively have it, which is nice. I'm like, as long as one person in our group of so like 30, that's fine.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure.
But
vote for the
yes, I'm like, you have to vote for all of us. You speak for the millions.
I usually pick the good ones. So
see, but it's one of those things where it's just another app I don't want. And I do love Pokemon, but, like, I don't need a bunch of apps to just play Pokemon.
Right, and, I get it, like, because it's not just for Pokemon, it's for their other games.
And it's also like them, checking your phone for whatever third-party apps, like, which is still sketchy to me.
I was going to say, a little bit more heinous is, like, you know, because we've already seen reports like people getting doxxed because of Campfire. If you don't know what doxing is, it's basically it lets other people know where your actual location is in the world.
Very concerning.
Usually bad, especially on the internet.
Yeah, because that was what people were worried about initially when Pokemon took off and where we were the closest to world peace.
Yeah,
was like people going to parks and people being like, I'm at this park, and then they meeting up and then getting jumped.
Yeah, exactly.
And shit. So it's like you just don't want to.
And then they steal your shoes.
Despite how awesome Pokemon is, some people don't have good intentions. Absolutely. You can't help that, but we don't need apps giving away your locations if you chose not to give away your location.
We have our reservations about Campfire, and I tried it, and it was like okay-ish. The only thing I got from it so far was like trying to coordinate a lucky trade. Outside of that, I've sat there. I was like, oh, there's a raid over here. Ping it. No one cares. You know, I've been like,
no one.
You know, I don't really see anything now. If they updated it, like if it became like a scanner, like a built-in scanner, that could be interesting. I don't think that'll ever happen. No. But I'm just saying, like in general, like if you wanted me to use Campfire, there has to be other tools integrated into it that make it integral to my Pokemon Go.
If your usage of Campfire guaranteed unlimited distance or trading, I would be on it tomorrow.
Oh my gosh, yeah. They're like, by the way, well, I heard Joel had a really good suggestion at dinner. I've never heard that one before. Like, is unlock global trading at the very least if you have a lucky trade with somebody.
Yes.
Like if I have a lucky trade, so you know I'm planning on getting married in Hawaii. You know, I'm there and I'm like, oh, I want a lucky trade with this comfy right now with Jack because he's back in Colorado. You want a comfy? Here's a lucky trade. Oh, I can't trade until I get back. You know,
whack.
Which isn't, you know, that's not the worst. Maybe not a great example, but it's just like it'd be nice if I could just do that and then collect more comfies, and maybe we get lucky again before I get back.
Yeah,
you know, or something like that, where it's just like
I just always think back to like when we went to Go Fest and those people we made friends with that we never see.
Oh, I still
that we probably have lucky friends trades with.
Oh, I do absolutely.
But how do we find them? And then
someone that I'm friends with in St. Louis. We've been lucky since Lucky basically released,
started.
Like.
Yeah. So it's some of those things where you're just kind of like, damn, you know, I want to be able to do those things. And if Campfire did allow such a thing, I would probably I shouldn't say I'll definitely hop on it, but I would start to really consider what other possibilities can you do. Because again, we joke that we think Niantic is just kind of being cowards by not releasing some of these things and some of these features, and I don't know what kind of chokehold / like nut vice grip / like guillotine that Nintendo has them under, that they can't do certain things that Niantic wants to do. Because I know that they have ambitions and I know that they have goals. You could see that from the other games they produce that have not necessarily taken off, like Pokemon. Because Pokemon has the highest nostalgia factor. Like,
well, it's the number one selling,
can't compete.
Number one selling franchise of all time in gaming.
Yeah, like you can't compete with it. And people try, like they tried with the Jurassic Park, and I love Jurassic Park. You all know I do. But like the Jurassic Park game, it's weird because it has better graphics.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the story doesn't make sense of like, why am I shooting darts or trying to grab this stuff?
These dinosaurs.
Yeah, and the dinosaurs aren't exactly just like the easiest to find. And some of their other games, like the Harry Potter game, I heard okay things about it from players who played it, but it didn't get the numbers Niantic wanted or whatever it was, and then that got shut down. I forgot about the other one where it was like you get to breed these little cute creatures and do things. I never heard anything about that.
That's their own game. I don't know if it's fully released yet.
Yeah, I don't even. I saw
they're working on a Transformers one, which doesn't make any sense.
Why?
They're working on an NBA one that doesn't.
They're literally trying to just farm nostalgia.
Run around and catch Kevin Durant or something.
that sounds racist,
right?
But like to me, it's just like it's one of those things where Niantic, you already have a great game for it, and that's where again I wonder what Nintendo is doing to like control them. Yeah, because ultimately it comes down to control. I think that's been a reigning theme we've been encountering this year is control, and people's need for it and how it's impacting the game.
Yeah,
because the game would be a lot more fun if we had less control over every aspect of it. Like we talked about it, like alternative shiny forms or different colorations for celebrations.
Right.
would be fucking dope. Like we talked about the Pink Island, Pinkberry Island with pink Pokemon everywhere.
Yeah.
Like if they just had Pokemon that were black, like straight black, I'd be like, yes, bitch. I'll take black on black on black on black. Like it'd be dope. Or they do like these. You can do just all sorts of variations just to support. Like when they did their support of the T-shirt line. Yeah. Forgot who that group was, but group, yeah, they're like, yeah, we want to give a shout out to our friends who are doing this. We're going to give them a promotion a game. What happened to that for like local entities? Because I remember there was that whole thing of like, send us your favorite local thing, we'll review it and give them support. But then like when COVID hit, that all just dropped. Right. And we talked about that even in our dinner tonight in terms of like the Discord, like where do we want the community to go? What do we want our focus to be? And looking at just as my analysis, and again, my math might not math to the way you like it, but it's how I formulated it. Yeah, either way. You might have different focal points. It's fine.
But it's still data. Like, yeah. At its rawest form, it's still interesting data, too.
Yeah. I always like dealing with raw data.
I wonder if Niantic has, they have to. They have to. Imagine, but like if they've seen that kind of data and they're like, okay, for 2023, maybe we up the
buddy stuff.
No, we up.
That's what I want.
Stuff. We up the avatar.
Oh, so instead of it being 34%, it goes up to 60.
Yeah.
So they're just throwing clothes at people.
Want. They want to. You need to be able to customize your character more.
No, I want them to throw clothes at Pokemon.
Yeah, I would love
if
that.
you did that, Niantic, like you'd make so much fucking money.
The December event because the new Eevee with the hat. Yeah, it's just like it'd be so much
I
nicer
want them, but I don't
for
want
me
them.
to just turn on a fucking hat on my Eevee.
Or buy them for my best buddy. Yeah, like if the Pokemon costume is only exclusive to your buddy, I think everyone would be fine with that. Yeah, because again, what do you do with all your buddy costume or your costume Pokemon when they're not your buddy? They just sit in your box like everything else. Yeah. And if you're like me, just a heathen that collects all the costumes and tries to get luckies of everything, it's exhausting. And again, that's my own personal hell I put myself through. But I do, because everyone has their little niche of what they collect. So people collect the babies.
The problem is
luckies.
Like, they treat Pokemon in Pokemon Go like trading cards.
Yeah. Very much.
So it's like, hey, we want our players to go play. We want. Here's the incentive. It's like we give them a costume Pokemon because, oh look, Shuckle with a Santa hat is cute.
He would be pretty cute, but you know what would be cuter? Caterpie with the cowboy hat.
Caterpie with the cowboy hat.
Or Snorlax again with the cowboy hat.
Just give me, or the Munchlax with the cowboy hat.
Oh, he'd be cute.
Little Munchlax with the cowboy hat?
With the little toy horsey?
Yeah, bro.
Hell yeah.
Anyway, point is like they treat these fucking Pokemon like they're trading cards. It's like, oh, do you have a shiny party hat Pichu? You know, from back in the day type deal?
I just think about because I've been trying to get back in the trades and people still don't know the trade worthiness of things, I'll say.
The trade, I wouldn't say etiquette, but yeah.
Well, it's trade etiquette too.
Trade values of certain things.
Yeah, because there's people where I get super frustrated trying to coordinate with folks, and again, it's the distance that makes you want to punch a bitch. Like, it's so annoying because you have to be close, but if it's Go Fest, if someone you met internationally, do you really think I'm going to fly internationally to do a lucky trade with someone?
Facts.
That's crazy.
Well, and even worse, that's pretty rough. But I was going to say, it's just like, imagine, again, our friends that we made at GoFest. Mm-hmm. Similarly, they're in your state, right? Yes. So it's like, they're like, oh, I'm skiing in Aspen this weekend. Can we visit for our lucky trade that we've had for 4 years? No, I'm not driving the fucking Aspen.
No, like, I even had someone, again, they were in Littleton. And I'm like, they're like, yeah, come out to this area, come out to Micro Center at like 6 p.m. on a weekday. I'm like, that is traffic. That is, I just made it home. Yeah. Or like, it just
don't let me into my zone. Like.
Yeah, basically, I'm just like, I don't want to.
Don't fuck with my zone, bro.
That's where they just need to expand that trade thing. But I won't keep harping on that.
No, I like the idea, the lucky trade.
Yeah, I look at the focal points, and it kind of, I just broke it into 3 categories again. Raiding, hatching, and buddies. Okay. Raiding has always been the focal point, but again, they're not as spicy as they used to be. Right. I like that we have raid bosses with new moves. That's cool. Nice. Maybe give them both new moves, a fast and a charge move. Oh. Give it something different. But I'm glad you guys are in the ballpark. The increased XP and all that, that's nice. Ultimately, the main cash cow that the events have just ignored is Stardust. Give us more dust. It's our in-game currency, but you're not giving us opportunities to get it outside of like
if you play community day.
Yeah, okay.
Every fourth community day will be Stardust.
Yeah, and that's just, to me, that's just really sad. There's just 4 events out of the whole year that you give us Stardust. Hatching being a quarter of the focus. Again, what would make that better? Hey, change up the egg things like you guys have recently been doing. Yeah. I love that. I like when I can part with all these fucking 7K low-end eggs that don't have shiny variants yet that you keep hitting us with, or ones that have fucking starters that don't have shiny variants. Get those out of there. Or, to me, I think a law of the land that you guys should adopt is if it's had a community day, it shouldn't be in the fucking eggs.
I'd like that.
Personally. Because I feel we get 2 chances, right? And you guys have blessed us and been more than accommodating for that to give us the day or weekend of the community day, and then the December event that we just came out of to get those Pokemon that we might have missed from the community days from that year. That is more than enough. Why do we need them in Aggies? It's kind of like a slap in the face when I get a shiny, like Dino, for example. I already have 20. Why do I need another from A when I wanted really like a Salandit, or I wanted a Noibat shiny? Right. You know, like, to me, if it's been a community day, it shouldn't be in the eggs anymore. Or, and again, just rotate them. Every couple months, you just do a new one. Again, like you're doing for these events, and you're making them event specific. I think that's great. I think when it has those shinies, because I think, what's the new one? Let me pull it up real quick, like. So for the...
Talking about the newest one?
Yeah, so for part 2 of the winter event, for example, let me see. The eggs for the 7Ks are going to have Sneasel, Smoochum, Amora, Bergmite, and the... I forgot the little crab. Little boxing crab. Cabrawler?
Cabrawler, yeah.
Is going to have him. Now, Cabrawler is kind of hard. He's not shiny, neither is Amora. I'm fine with those two, not because they're still newish, and it gives you a chance to farm them. I think that's fine. Bergmite, yes, I would love more opportunities to get him because in the wild, I have not had the luck. Smoochum, that having the baby as a focus, that's cool. Sneasel would be the one I'd kind of be iffy because we've had lots of events with Sneasel. It'd be different if it was like a costume Sneasel or like a costume Eevee or something. Maybe. To me, I would much rather them, and I know you can't do it, like to hatch a caped Glaceon.
It's so cute though.
It's really cute, but that would be part of the field researches. Or to me, the egg should have that. I think they're trying to bring back Galarian Mr. Mime. I think he should be in the eggs because he's a focal point. But Pokemon like Sneasel, we've had. I think everyone has had the chance to get the Pink Lemonade Sneasel. It'd be different if it was the Galarian one, or not the Galarian, the Hisuian Sneasel, and you guys are like that shiny. And again, I know Amora's not. I'm hoping next year they give the shiny Amora and Tyrant, because if you haven't seen them, I won't spoil it for you, but they're gorgeous. They're some of my favorite dinos. But the event itself looks pretty dope. And again, I just want more buddy stuff. Like, give us more friend-based stuff. Make that relevant. Right now, they're trying to make it relevant with pavilions and using your postcards and farming all those to get the various things. That's great. I'm glad they're making postcards useful because I never gave 2 fucks about it. Just like how when they have missions for stickers. So one time I use it, I'm like, send 5 stickers on postcards, done. Whatever. Keep it that simple. No, I think that's
stickers and more hats.
Stop. I think that's just one thing I just want to be done with.
Stickers.
Personally,
hats,
there should be more perks for buddy stuff, and I hope for 2023. I hope someone at Niantic finds this podcast and really listens to it and takes it to heart to be like, I want to do more stuff where my friends are relevant again, because I know Niantic wants us to get back out and be together. They've done it with Hoopa, with you have to be present for these elite raids. Hoopa. Maybe they might start being like, hey, all legendary raids are considered elite. You're going to get more candies. better chances of shine, just all that. That would draw me to elite raids.
Yeah, imagine if like it was like 1 in 12 legendary raids, like if they're
guaranteed
were shiny.
I would do them.
Yeah,
easy. And again, people do that now, but they do it at worse rates. Like
yeah, absolutely.
it's kind of like, I always think of it like, would you suck this whatever for like $20? Like, I do that shit for free.
Yeah,
you're just like,
oh, you guys are getting paid.
Yeah, so, right. Yeah, it sucks, but it's like, I think Niantic players have shown that they've been diligent with worse conditions. Mm-hmm. So throw us a bone, and I think you'll see a lot better results from us.
Well, and like I said, I'm curious to see what goes on in, like, say, their meeting rooms in terms of what are goals for 2023 outside of numbers, like profits.
Yeah.
It's just like, how do we get to these goals? And it's like, if it is profits, like you said, if there was more incentives for me to do X, Y, and Z in the game, like you want me to be out and doing raids more, make raids more interesting.
Yeah. Give us better perks for participating. Like, obviously they have Go Fest out, Go Fest Vegas. And like we signed up for it. I'm really excited for it.
Join us in Vegas, bro.
Yeah, come out to Vegas. But we're just talking about that. Like, they had the focal point where it's like, are you going to be hatching? Are you going to be raiding?
Catching, yeah.
Are you going to be catching? $15 each for a boost. The fact like Niantic can program your thing to give you a specific boost
for money,
for that focus, for extra monies, of course. Why not have that boost in more areas of the game? So if I'm like, I want to boost my shiny chances, why not? Hey, let me pay for a temporary shiny charm, which increases my chances of shinies this event for the remainder of this event for an extra $3.
Yeah.
You know how much extra money Niantic would get if they charge players an extra $3 for a shiny charm for the event? They're not guaranteeing you a specific number of shinies, just a higher chance.
No, it's just increasing your chance. Like it.
So it might have it just for that event.
I would buy that.
I would buy that like for $3. Yeah, if it was for Go Fest.
How much would you spend for that? Would you spend $10 on that?
Yeah.
There you go.
I'd spend $20 if I was guaranteed. That was something we were talking about at the last community day. Because to me, a Go Fest should guarantee you the average catch of shinies that you'd have at a standard community day.
Agreed.
So, like, if the average, say, Colorado wide, wow, that motorcycle was rude. Say, for example, the average Colorado, I'll say focus. Aurora average for a community day, say like Dino, and the average for the year was about 11.
Okay, 11 shinies.
That should be the default shinies I get on a bad day for Go Fest.
Yeah, not 4, like I had.
Not a minimum, but
no, I'm saying when we went to Chicago when I had 4 shinies. Yeah, it was
I think it should be something like that. Like, it should take into account, because I think their analytics by this point, or their logistics, should be able to pinpoint.
They have to be pretty solid.
if they could identify your location, know where postcards are coming from, know how active your Pokemon are for this, being able to send your Pokemon home no matter what, wherever they are, knowing how you battle and having those logistics, finding something that detects your averages and guarantees that in your random number generator, say, give this bitch 11. Or whatever. I think it's doable.
I would love to see the telemetry that they have for this game, like, because it's like all those stats, right? Like, it's like, X, Y, Z is this active, things like that. Real quick on raid incentives, because I just wanted to talk about it real quick. I think one thing that would be interesting that I'm just speaking into existence is they should give you coins for raiding. Doesn't have to be a lot.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be a lot.
What are you thinking?
Well, I mean, like, ideally, I would like to get, like, have it as an alternative to gym defending, so like 50 a day on a raid.
Yeah, because not everyone likes to gym. There's definitely a lot of, like, raider focus.
I'm trying to balance it out here, because, like, it'd be nice because you get the free raid pass a day if you raid every day. So if you could cash that in for even 25 coins.
Yeah.
Or something like, I raided, and yeah, sure, it's a 1-star, or there's more incentives to do, like, legendary raids or 5-star raids. 5-star raids get you 50 coins, 3-star gets you 30, 1-star gets you 15, or something like that.
Would there be a cap for, like, the day?
I imagine they would have something like that, so you don't, like, because, like,
They don't want you to farm coins.
Right.
Like
Or if you do farm coins, it's just like the returns have to be small enough that they still make a profit. So you're like,
yeah.
Oh, I have 50 raid passes right now. Let me go just run around the city, do a bunch of raids. Am I going to get enough coins to make up for all those raid passes? No. But like they'll find some kind of weird math balance to that. I just don't want it to be like, oh, here's 3 coins for finishing a raid. Because remember when they tried the alternate in Australia, they tried like, oh, if you do certain missions, you'll get a coin, or something.
I didn't mind that so much, but again, those missions weren't plentiful.
Well, they're not plentiful, and it was like 1 coin. Like it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was negligible.
Yeah.
It was like, how is this an alternative for me to get coins?
Like it'd be different. That's where I kind of wish like they would do like how the game tracks in the medals, for example, like number of stops you've done consecutively.
Absolutely.
There's all sorts of like hidden mechanics that the game is doing, and as a everyday like casual player, you might not know that, but just like take a second, open up your game, look at your medals, and see what some of these things are tracking.
Even
these things are continuously tracking it, even if you don't care about it. It's still tracking.
I was gonna say, even recently when they added this whole like size, like size matters.
Their quality of life little adjustments they made. Like I think it's cute, but it's also weird. Like. And I thought, like, slightly insulting, poor Spheel. Like, it showed up as like, it's huge. I'm like, he might be sensitive.
This is the fattest Spheel I've ever seen.
Yeah, that is a thick-ass boy. And I'm just like, Spheel. I'm like, oh.
Spheel, let me love you.
But notice that, like, when you get a Spheel, when you capture those Pokemon, it is comparing those Pokemon to all your other Pokemon already in your system.
Yeah. It's reading that in the background.
It's the biggest to you, but someone else might have even bigger ones.
Yeah.
And it will show up differently, and then it keeps that new metric. So, like, why? Who asked for that? I don't know.
Like, it's an interesting feature. It's completely useless at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows?
They might do competitions later, because I just think about when we were in person at, like, Chicago. Because that was one of the things, like, who has the biggest Snorlax?
Yeah,
you and a random stranger need to pair up, and if your 2 Snorlax's weights are the heaviest, you'll win a card, or you'll win
a $50.
Yeah, because they ran out of like all the good T-shirts for some fucking reason. Like they didn't. Yeah, silliness.
It was a weird low amount of merch.
There really was, for the number of people there and amount of like millions of dollars they generated.
You literally know how many tickets you're selling.
Yeah.
Plan for that.
The easiest thing would be plan $5 per person there, and then spend that toward your merch. That's easy. Just like, again, that's what I do for breakfast burritos. It works for Pokemon as well. But like,
bro, just hire us. I'll do this.
Again, the quality of life stuff they've done. So we've had the size increments, so including extra smalls to extra larges, keeping new record numbers. We also had them gridding the item list, which has been nice. Yeah, it's been helpful.
That's a nice quality, an actual nice quality of life.
Yeah, and like I don't use that as much, but I've heard others have. So I'm like, that's great. Like if people benefit from it, great. Grid. But what other quality of life things can we add that would just make it better?
Breeding.
Trading and making it making it bigger. I know we talked about at dinner, like, why don't we have it state? And that's a really Western ideology way of thinking, because not every place has states.
Well, that's what I say,
but if you did it for like the over 100 kilometers or over 200 kilometers, you can trade. I think that's pretty reasonable for people who are within your area that you might encounter on a player basis. 200 kilometers is a nice size.
Because I still have, like you said, I have friends that are in Lakewood or Littleton or Inglewood or whatever, and it's like I don't run into those people very often. I met them at a PvP tournament, or I met them at a Go Fest, or I met them at a community day because they were like, oh, we want to try out this one spot this month, and then they don't play there usually. So it's like, and I don't run into them often. Yeah. Like you said, it's like it's one thing to be like, oh, we live in the same state or same metro area. Just come visit me. Come to Micro Center at 6 p.m. so I can trade. Yeah. And you're just like,
it's clear the dude doesn't live here. He's like, I got to fly out. And I'm like, that's cool. But it's just like, some of our areas, if I can say, can I just trade with this person? Like, they can also have it very similar to like what they do with Pokemon Home, where you have to charge up. Yeah. So if they could do like one supercharge where you can do one of those
unlimited
distance trades, but just one time every week. Yeah. that would be fine
or
too.
It's like Mega Energy, where it's like depending on the distance, uses a certain amount of your trade energy.
Oh my god, I would give so much Rattata. Like if it was like candies, I'm like, use all my Rattata candies. I don't need that shit. Like, but no, I would agree. Something that it could charge up to where people can't abuse it right out the gate.
Yeah,
I think that'd be fine. And I think if they implemented something, I'd be willing to try it.
But like
anything. But like,
so that, like I said, so that's an idea we talked about, like just simple things like coins for raids. I feel like that would up our raid participation.
Easy, yeah.
Would maybe not as great as the quote glory days unquote, but like it would still be higher because I would be more incentivized. Like, I'd prefer the raid bosses to be interesting. I would prefer the raid bosses to be maybe a little bit more engaging,
and us to have more time to do them.
That too. But it's just like it's clear that they haven't made that. I feel like it'd be really easy to turn on a switch to be like, oh, you're doing a 3-star raid. Here's 30 coins if you finish it, or like maybe time matters. So it's like, oh, you finished it in less than 30 seconds or whatever.
Like how they give you the different ratings of Mega Energy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Stuff like that. Just do that with maybe something like coins, because coins will incentivize people. It's like, I'm getting value out of this game that I'm playing, or I'm grinding out or whatever.
Yeah, and it should definitely reward participation.
That, we talked about breeding. Breeding would make me buy so many fucking incubators. It's not even funny.
I think we even talked about it too. Like, all right, eggs that you had purposely ditto and another Pokemon breed with, or what they're doing in Scarlet Violet, you hosted a picnic, and all of a sudden you have eggs in a basket. Yeah, you hosted a picnic, and now people are fucking at these picnics.
True.
Even though they're playing asleep, they're actually getting their fucking.
Yeah, well, I just don't want to like lose this track. It has nothing to do with anything we're talking about.
Goodness.
There's a Digimon card game, right?
Random.
So it plays, like other card games. Mm-hmm. Well, a big thing in Digimon is hatching eggs.
Yes.
They're called Digitama, or hatching eggs. In the official rule set for the Digimon card game, that's called the breeding zone.
Breed zone,
literally called the breeding zone.
Dope, I love it.
So the games for kids also, and they have a breeding zone there. So Pokemon, get your shit together.
Yeah, they could have that.
Breeding's a real thing.
Breeding's real. It's part of life. It's natural. With that in mind, like
Pokemon, fuck, bro.
having those eggs say they were 20K.
Yeah.
That's fine. If I knew the exact Pokemon coming out of it, you can even lessen the potential shiny. But the fact that I can still hatch my own eggs would still incentivize me for a specific Pokemon. So I love Amora.
Yes.
If they're like, hey, the shiny rate might not be the best, but there's still a chance, and out of a regular 7K or 10K egg, you have a 1 in 20 chance of getting just Amora, but at better shiny rates, or you have 100% of Amora, but at lower rates, I'll take 100% at lower rates. Time. Easy.
And I will, like I said, I would legitimately budget incubators into my monthly budget
just to hatch certain ones,
because like I'm that passionate about it. Like things like that. So it's like, it's like silly. I think I keep going back to the coins for rating, but it's like also like you can do that for PvP. Like if you want people to PvP more,
I think that's where they should allow like a kind of like a pick your profession, or pick your path. Like we joked about it, like what interests you about Pokemon. A lot of people are like, I just want to collect. Others are, I love raiding. Others, I love shinies. Others are like, I love the social aspect.
Yeah,
just like I did in my math, whereas like raiding, hatching, and buddies. Mm-hmm. Let Niantic come up with categories to allow you to choose. That's what they did for GoFest.
Yeah.
Raiding, hatching, and catching. If those are your 3 focal points, let you choose your path, your profession path, or whatever, and then allow you to earn coins based on that.
Yeah, because like
that'd be dope.
And I'm discussing this further because like ultimately, if you look at other gacha games or other games that have like this gameplay loop, like it's a game as a service or something, there's incentives to just buy your way into things. So I'll use Genshin Impact as an example.
Okay.
It's a game where like, it's known as a gacha game because like you play it and like inevitably you want to gather these resources to spend on opening packs to unlock better characters, better weapons.
Okay.
Now you can just go. They call it whaling. You can go and just spend a shit ton of money for those gems, or you can play the game and you still earn them just at a slower pace because you're earning them for free in the game. And that's pretty much a system in any sort of free-to-play game. League of Legends does it. or live action, live service game is what I meant. Like, so like Destiny, you can do that kind of thing too.
Okay.
You get this resource that you normally would have to spend money on. You get it, and maybe you don't get a lot of it at the time, but you can start building it up, banking it up, and I like your idea of like profession in Pokemon Go, because right now, how do you get coins in Pokemon Go for free? Like, outside of buying them?
I just have to gym.
It's gymming.
That's
that
the
is
only
literally
way.
the only way to get that currency.
To those Valor players in my area by Mission Viejo or by Meadowood Rec Center,
Yo, Valor?
I'm gonna keep coming for you. I hope you know that. Like, or I'll just let you rot in the gym. That's just my personal like jargon for you for today.
Oh, interesting.
But it just annoys the
I like
fuck
that
out of
one.
me.
I like the petty.
It really does, because I'll be in there and I'll be courteous, and I always try to have a modicum of courteousness.
JackJack with the
But
gym etiquette.
if I'm in the gym for less than an hour and you knock me, that's not tight.
And then I watch your Pokemon be in there for 10 hours.
Yeah, well, and that's where when they do that, I'm like, all right, 5 days later, and I'll knock you out, and I knock out all your Pokemon and the whole thing. That's why. And then you're like, damn, I didn't collect coins from those. I'm like, yeah, I hope you don't. But again, if people just were a little bit better, we can all get our coins. But that's where I've been slowly getting back into the gymming game, because I'm tired of spending my monies toward this game. And I need to take on more of like a Keith mindset or a Joel mindset, where it's like, you're not going to get my money.
Right. But imagine being able to still play at maybe a higher rate, or a higher, like, your grind set doesn't go wasted. So, like, there's other opportunities. Because, like you said, gymming is the only way to get coins. Gymming can be difficult, or it can be relatively easy, but it all depends on where you're at. Mm-hmm. You live in a neighborhood that's fairly active with, like, these Valor players or whatever.
Gross.
So at least you can, like, knock each other out. Like,
yes.
Unfortunately, it hasn't been, like, fair or equitable in sense of, like, oh, it's JackJack, and yes, you have 5 baby accounts or whatever, but it's like they let you in there for an hour, and then they'll be in there for 8 hours, because otherwise you have to come wrap around and, like, take them out or whatever. Versus, like, how many times have we been asked, like, oh, do you happen to be in Sedalia for some reason today?
Did you knock out this gym? Yeah,
I've had a Pokemon here for 80 days. Can you please?
Could you knock that out?
Please save my Pokemon?
Sure.
There should also be a way to just return your Pokemon. I don't care.
I think there should be a recall feature if you're done. Like, I think I had like a Croconaw sitting at a church in Castle Rock for like 20 days.
Yeah.
And that's small fries compared to some of these people's numbers, where it's like, yeah, my Pokemon's been in this gym for a year. And I'm like,
around the world for a year. So
I'm like, why? Like,
but like,
that sucks.
But yeah, so it's just like, you have instances like that. Like, Carla has, like, worked it out because she works at a community college. So her gymming works out fairly well for her, but my gymming doesn't work out too well. So it's like, it's not equitable in that sense. If I could earn coins, like I said, raiding, PvPing, hatching eggs,
I miss the old school one where you could collect.
Yeah.
At a certain point in the day,
you just hit the collect button.
You just hit collect. Like, I don't know why that quality of life feature was taken out, but that's one they need to bring back.
Because
like,
it thought about automatically making it would be your quality of life.
No.
Because people would forget to collect.
That's fine.
I know.
I want to be able to just collect.
I do miss that.
I remember, like, Teresa's story, like, about Dan. And Dan, again, dedicated player. I appreciate the hustle in it, like, where he'd set certain times to wake up in the morning just to collect coin.
Yeah.
So he didn't miss it. That way, if people do leave you in gyms for 10 days,
5 days, yeah.
whatever, you can collect every day and not worry about it. So if I have 5 Pokemon and 5 gyms, the max I can go is 50 coins a day from gymming. But what if it was 50 for gymming, 50 for raiding, 50 for that? All that money ultimately gets poured back into the system, which is Pokemon. Yeah. Now, if they're looking at, like, well, you're getting more opportunities, so you're not going to be spending in the game more, I would have to say that's false. Because if I'm getting more opportunities for coins, that's where you could, again, bring in other features that might cost more coins than what you have.
Yeah.
So if there was something like, because you can obviously change your team, is it really worth 1,000 now? Are people that eager to jump teams?
Yeah, well,
no.
Does it matter?
But it's still 1,000 coins.
Bring back teams mattering.
Yeah, if teams mattered, like if I got like a perk like we talked about, a temporary shiny charm, or just temporary items in general.
Well, that brings me... Go ahead, sorry.
Or like lures, because again, when I bought lures back in the day before they nerf them.
Uh-huh.
Lures mattered because an incense mattered because you didn't have to fucking move for a Pokemon to spawn by you. Now they're like, you have to spawn by you, but now the value of my lure to me declined because incense declined because I bought it for the point of when I'm being lazy, like sitting at my home, I can still play and have better spawns turn up. You know?
Here's an idea. This is going back to your job thing.
Okay.
And maybe they combine this for teams mattering. I don't know.
Teams matter.
Okay, so it seems instinct matters. But like you look at, so you have your teams. Maybe 1,000 coins to switch teams isn't relevant. However, I'm a job for this team, so I'm Team Valor, and I'm a collector.
Okay.
You know, my job is relevant on Team Valor because when Team Valor collector, Team Valor PvP or fighter, whatever, Team Valor breeder, all team up, there's extra bonuses or something, like whether those three or those jobs are holding down a gym, whether it's raiding, things like that, where there's like more incentives to diversify your teams. And then also like I said, that's an opportunity maybe to get coins. Like, I choose to be a collector, so I catch 100 Pokemon a day, I might get 50 coins. Something like that. People,
they can set better objectives for that.
Like, you set those like little objectives, and I feel like more people will be playing your game. And it's almost like, it's like gambling. They give you a little taste. Here's some coins. Here's some coins. Oh, it was nice to be able to buy an incubator for free. But I also have 10 other eggs I need to hatch. Let me go ahead and buy those. Or, to your point, like, what if they did release another infinite incubator, but it costs 5,000 coins?
Done.
Something like that, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of opportunities that you could do a lot of fun things with.
And that's where it ultimately comes down to, again, Niantic and what they consider a good return of investment. Obviously, from this year alone, rating is their focal point. It's the highest thing that they focus in there.
Because of the raid passes.
Yeah, raid passes get them money and do that kind of stuff. Buddies don't. So then why have restrictions on buddies when it's not a focal point to you?
Right.
Is my question of them. I'm not expecting an answer from them, but it's just my rhetorical question, like, why limit buddy stuff if you'd only have 7% of your events even focus on anything buddy related? There's no point. Same with Rockets. Why have the Rockets be so apparent every day when there's only 2 events out of the year that even focus on you being able to get rid of frustration or you being able to face
they need to expand
Mewtwo
that shit
in that.
For sure.
Well, yes, they have a whole universe of villains they can choose from. Team Magma, Team Aqua, all those other groups can make an appearance here. I loved having Jesse and James for their little integral thing and have Meowth and having the giant Meowth balloon come through. That shit was dope. Yeah. I really love that. I loved them having the trainers at the stops for some of those things and being able to face them head on. And the frequency I loved. Some of the events, again, like we're talking about it at the community day. So a lot of people were mad at the Feebas event because there wasn't enough Feebas back when that was first released at Shiny.
Right.
But then I loved this year with Inkay and with Amora and Tyrant.
Yeah.
Or getting Cranidos and Sheldon.
Yeah.
Or Shieldon. Getting those from missions. I think the shiny rates there for me were popping. For other folks they weren't. But that's where I like some of those missions, and I know some people that are gung-ho for field missions. I didn't even focus on field missions because I think everyone has field missions, but the turnout is always relatively the same. It's just whatever new release, you have a chance. It's the same.
Yeah.
But if there's incentives, you get a random thing, kind of where they're trying to incentivize you scanning stops.
Oh, God.
I think everyone is pretty much... I don't know anyone who actually scans stops anymore or powers them up.
I just hold the one scan a stop so I don't pick any more up.
Exactly. So I don't know anyone who scans their stops. If you do, you're one of the few brave souls.
It would be sick if they told you how long you've been holding on to those missions. Because when the scanning first dropped, I scanned was it fucking Pluto or Mars at Mission Viejo?
Yeah,
and I've been sitting on that.
I want that feature. I was just thinking about that. I want that feature for fucking buddies. I want that feature for buddies who. When was the last time you interacted with them?
Okay, yeah.
And if it's you haven't interacted with this person over 2 years,
that's
going to be my
saying 2+ days.
That's going to be my clue to me. Okay, and maybe that's where you could put them on a temporary list. Be you're on an acquaintance list. If you
Get
don't
fucking demoted. You're not in my top 8, bitch.
Yeah, basically. It makes it hard. Again, people who have who are really engaged in gift opening will understand my plea here. Or who have max friends. And it just sucks because you're like, you want to engage with these people, you want to stay connected, but you have no way of contacting them.
Yeah.
If they're not, and again, most of the people who've signed off of Pokemon now probably have no idea what fucking Campfire is. So you can't exactly send them a message on Campfire like, hey, talk to me, because they don't know what it is.
The fuck is that? Yeah.
Like, it'd be cool if Niantic could be like, hey, once a year we're going to send you a personal email like, hey, we noticed you haven't been playing Pokemon. Here's some little messages from your friends.
You haven't spent money on us in that.
Yeah. Give us your money, bitch. Oh, and here's your friends.
You haven't opened Pokemon Go in 3 months. Here's a free little gift package. It gives you like an incubator.
Yeah. Again, restaurants do that. I don't see why Niantic can't.
Yeah, give me a fucking rewards.
Or again, if they've noticed like, hey, wow, you played Pokemon consecutive for 90 days. Here's an extra 1,000 coins on us.
Oh, brr.
Go buy.
Brr.
Go do this. Like, that would be cool. Or, hey, we've noticed you've been hatching a lot of eggs recently. Here's 2 bonus incubators. Thanks for hatching.
Yeah. No, I agree.
That'd be cool.
It's, it's rewarding your veterans. It is rewarding the people that have stuck with this game the entire time.
Well, not just the entire time, but putting in effort.
Well, yeah.
In general.
I'm maybe not the entire time, but either way, it's just like they've stuck with the game because there's so many. Yeah. There's a lot of people that have quit. There's a lot of people that contemplate quitting. The game needs a lot of refreshment, and a lot of those things, we've discussed here. I would love to see any of those implemented in next year. 2023 is going to be quite an exciting year. We basically just spent this episode kind of recapping a little bit of 2022 and seeing
and what's been good, what their focuses have been.
And it's been really interesting. Like I said, that's super interesting to me. I would love to see more, maybe rocket events, more friendship, buddy events, more social events, because I feel like those incentivize socialness.
They do.
More than here's a pose or here's an avatar item.
Yeah, like the focus on costumes is cool. I do know a handful of people that do change up their attire.
Yeah, because you can only pick from the same fucking 2 trainers. Yeah. Like, you can't customize your character. Like, you wear different clothes.
Yeah. Or to me, if I could have my wardrobe for the week and change it based accordingly, dope. So like Christmas, I'll put on a Christmas hat. Yeah. But then right after it changes my person back to their set fit. Dope.
Yeah, I mean, and I like updating my outfits, but again, it's just like they cared so much about it, and I feel like it just all these other systems have been left to the wayside, and they're just kind of suffering. So
because like in terms of quality of life, I think what they've done is nice.
Some of the things they've done is nice.
Is it improving my quality of life necessarily? No.
Bro, it's like the little Band-Aid. It's like the fucking Flex Tape commercial where like the thing's leaking, you just slap some Flex Tape.
Yeah, you're like, that takes care of it. It's
just like, I don't know.
It does for the minute, bitch. And Flex Tape, it actually does really work well. I had to use that shit for a flood.
We're not sponsored by Flex Tape.
It works.
If you would like to,
it does work.
Reach out. But point is, it's just like it feels like kind of a little Band-Aid. It's like, we care about you. Here's a quality of life update. You're like, okay, but where's the actual quality of life update? Where's the game update?
I didn't even, and that's where again this data that I collected is in a pretty raw form. I want to definitely look into it more to look at like what was an actual cultural event. How many of those did we have? How many have we had? Is that something they can do more of? What is something that I was genuinely excited about? Like overall, or like what's something where the eggs and you're like, wow, I heard lots of great feedback on this.
Bro, when we had the Hisuian Pokemon in the eggs instead of the Alolan Pokemon in the eggs for like 2 seconds, happiest 2 seconds of my
right, because you're like, I'm gonna start hatching eggs. I was like, look at him go.
I hatched some eggs.
For me, that was
Noibat. Then went back to 7Ks. Yeah.
As soon as they took Noibats out, I was like, I'm not opening. Now I literally like strategize like I have to have a full egg. List of like whatever's there, any 1, 5, or 10.
I appreciate the gifts. Let me either throw eggs away, or let me turn on a function where it's like whenever you open gifts, don't get an egg, because like.
Yeah, because don't they have it to where like if your bag is full, you could just get Stardust instead? Like I thought that was something.
That'd be nice. I just fucking hate 7Ks.
Yeah, well, it's just because they're not as cool as they used to be.
Right, and part of that is because the egg pool. They can change that stuff, but that's a quality of life update. They haven't updated. They updated how I grid my fucking items out. But anyway, I wanted to just really quick touch on a community thing. Next year is an exciting year because there's a billion things going on. I'm hoping if we do keep getting machine gun punched in the nutsack by events, that they are relevant, that they're interesting, maybe change a little bit of the focus. Who knows? It's whatever makes them money. But, some of the things we discussed here, that's our kind of like a little bit of a wish list. I would love to see any of those come to fruition. We talked about it at the beginning of this year. We were like, we want breeding is going to be at the end of the year. I really thought that. Doesn't seem like it's the case. Who knows if it's ever going to come? It really should because Niantic would make so much money. But community update wise, one thing we did want to kind of start on and focus on that we talked about over I think the past couple of episodes is PvP.
Yeah.
PvP in our community was super exciting just before the pandemic.
Yeah.
We had
just getting off the ground nicely.
We were able to work with local businesses. We loved it. There was actually good turnout from all around. A lot of my friends on my friends list that live in like fucking Inglewood and stuff, I met him on those PvP things. And some like one of them right now, he's in fucking Hawaii sending me gifts. So that's how I got the ocean scatterbug.
Nice.
Things like that. And so PvP is really good. Raiding seems to not have been as successful in terms of like getting the community back together. Part of that is again
the
issues that
incentives.
we've had with raids in general. Incentives, raid bosses are kind of lame. Some of them can't even be shiny. Like imagine if the fucking elite Hoopa could have been shiny.
Yeah,
we might have cared on the second time it came out because the first day it came out popping because it was new, it was different.
Yep.
Second time it came out, no one gave a shit. So raiding not as successful in terms of getting people together. We're still going to keep trying for that, and we're going to find something that works for everybody. But PvP, I think, has an opportunity to kind of help bring it together. I think because PvP stays fresh, if we use like the Self Road tournament style, where there's a cup every month, and it's like there's a different meta that goes with each cup because it determines like typings and certain things like that. They're also looking into integrating the GBL, the Great League, into their tournament structure, and they're also changing a little bit how their structure works. So instead of you have to be sweaty and you have to really care about month to month, they're breaking it up into what they're calling waves. And in this wave, the wave might encapsulate, say, 3 months, 2 or 3 months. So there's still a monthly cup, but it's like I could not.
That's very Shield Hero of them.
Yeah, I could not battle. I couldn't do any PvP in January because of a lot of deadlines. But in February, it kind of opened up a little bit for me, so I can do more PvP. They said they'll do that whole wave. That counts towards your rank. And again, that's something we'll explore. It doesn't have to be just the rank stuff through Self. That's one aspect. We still want to do labs. We still want to do events, PvP events, or other.
Yeah, get back to the social.
Get back to the actual.
The Discords and
the fun that we had with this community, and I think there's some great opportunities. So keep an eye out for that. I just wanted to update everybody. We'll be doing probably PvP events, including something like labs, something that maybe coincides with certain events. So they're like, oh, by the way, here's a grass event. So we're gonna have maybe a grass tournament or a fire tournament. Fuck your grass. Who cares? Or whatever's clever, as Herb would say. So, you got anything else for the people?
Nah, I think our next episode, maybe we could do it next week around the same time, and just kind of do like our hit lists for 2023.
Oh yeah.
And just kind of cover that.
We sprinkled you with a little preview in this episode.
Well, I think we covered a lot of like the data and like what we really have seen and our hopes.
Yeah.
But then like again, I want to forecast next episode.
Oh, you're talking
of, like,
about like these are the things we're going to do in 2023.
That, and then also like kind of like our top things we want from Niantic to do.
Okay.
So because I think you wanting breeding, because I am still want Mimikyu. He's always on my list. That's my main thing I want.
I was
but like
so sure they were going to do that.
Nope. Year. And that's where again I think Altera for putting out reality check. He's like, if they haven't done it now, they're not going to do it yet. And like he set me straight before the Halloween event started. I was like, he's right. He's right. But that's where, again, going into a new year, we already know what's on the horizon in terms of Go Fest. What does that mean for future Go Fest? Are they going to be digital? Are they going to keep that element? Yeah. I think they are, but that's something we can discuss.
Yep.
The future of rating.
Yeah, hopefully it changes.
Will remotes be relevant or irrelevant going into the future? What generation of the game do you think they're going to get to?
Yeah,
personally,
are we going to get Sword Shield next year?
Yeah, I don't know. That's what I kind of want to discuss more in the next episode.
Sounds good. Well, keep your ears and eyes peeled.
Yep. And stay safe, people. It's going to be cold as fuck out.
Yeah, be warm out there. Grab a drink. Stay safe. We love you.
Yep.
Later.
Bye.
They're not street tacos. I don't care what you say.
They're not.